Good evening, everyone. Welcome you all on this platform that is One Mark Solution. And as you know, regularly we are conducting live session for assertion, region, and case study based question for different subject and different chapters. Today we are going to discuss the assertion, region, and case study based questions from chapter 10th, that is comparative study of India and India, China, and Pakistan, or you can say development strategies of India and its neighbor. That is chapter 10 for Indian economic development for class 12th economics. And we have Madam Shilpi Taneja as a subject expert with us. Madam, I welcome you on behalf of One Mark Solution and on behalf of all the viewers. And everyone knows that Madam is taking regularly sessions for SSL region and case study of economics. I would like to request all the viewers who are watching this video kindly subscribe the channel and press the bell icon for the upcoming videos and upcoming different sessions on the same. And also can visit the playlist of this channel to get the videos of other chapters and as well as of the other uh, subjects. Thank you so much, ma'am. Now I am handing over to Madam Shilpi Taneja. Madam Taneja is working as a PGT Economics as well as Senior Coordinator Academics in Holly International School, Noida. Ma'am, kindly proceed. Thank you.
Today we are with assertion and reason questions and case-based type questions. Again, as you all know, these are recently introduced by CBSE. So first time they will be about to come in your examination, right? So let me introduce you the type of the pattern of this question, assertion and reason. In this you will be having one statement in assertion which will be stating something related to the chapter, as well as one statement will be there in the reason. Reason may be explaining the assertion, so we will be having these four options in all the questions. So option A will be telling us that both the statements are true and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Option B, both the assertions will be true, both the statements will be true, but reason may not be explaining the assertion. Option C, assertion will be true and reason is false. So anyways, if we will be going through the statements, we can easily understand. So if assertion is true and reason is false, we will go for option C, and if assertion is false and reason is true, then we will go for option D. For example, let's start with the question number 1. Assertion says, as you all must have read the chapter, the growth story of all these three countries are covered in the chapter: China, Pakistan and India. As we have started almost together, the reforms were introduced almost in the nearby years. So what was the process, how we have done, how they have done, and then there is a comparison between the development growth of the countries. So the data is also given in the chapter, and which will be very helpful for you to understand the basics, right? So you have to go through the data so that you can easily understand the growth story. And when we compare all these three countries, we'll see that China is having a better performance than in comparison to India and Pakistan. So there are few fields where India has done better. There are one or two fields where Pakistan also has done better. So that will be very clear by the data. Now question number 1 in assertion, it says China has done better than India and Pakistan as it is a socialist economy. आप लोगों को पता होगा that when we got independence, we have adopted the mixed economy system in which private and public both sectors were working. Pakistan also has adopted the same, but China has adopted the socialist economy where the decisions were taken by the government. So now assertion is stating that China has done better than India and Pakistan because it was a socialist economy. So this is true. Reason says in socialism, government can implement policies which are in the best interest of people. You must be knowing that when government take decisions, they always take the welfare of the people into consideration. है ना? So, reason is the correct explanation of assertion. So, we will go for option A in this question. Next question says, assertion, China's rapid industrial growth can be traced back to its reforms introduced in 1978. China का जो rapid industrial growth हुआ, that was introduced after the that can be traced back after the reforms of 1978, and reason is telling that private sector firms and township and village enterprises, they all were like village enterprises किसको बोलते हैं? Enterprises which were owned and opened and operated by local collectives were allowed to produce goods. So in China, those sectors were also allowed to produce the goods. That's why China's rapid industrial growth happened, right? So we will go for option A again, both assertion and reason true, and reason is the correct explanation of assertion, because they had allowed the private sector also to produce the goods to keep the profit. So that's why they have done the rapid growth in the industrial sector. Now question 3 says, assertion, Human Development Index ranking of India is higher as compared to China and Pakistan. When we talk in brief, we can easily say, when we see the data, we can easily see that China is always having better performance than V2, than India and Pakistan. So assertion is false. Reason is telling Human Development Index ranking of China is higher as compared to India and Pakistan, which is true. Okay, so China's Human Development Index is higher than India and Pakistan. So we will go for option D, where it says assertion is false but reason is true. Now question number 3, assertion says China is moving ahead of both India and Pakistan in terms of indicator of human development. अभी हमने previous question में यही किया, which is true. Reason says in China for 1 lakh births only 38 women die, whereas in India 230 women die, and in Pakistan 260 women die. So that is one of the basic indicator of human development. So reason is the correct explanation of assertion, because they have only 38 deaths over 1 lakh births. So that is very good ratio. So reason is the correct explanation of assertion. We will go for option A in this. Next question, assertion says China is the most populated country, but its annual growth rate of population is lowest. Yes, true. This is a largest country having the most population, but because they had adopted one child policy, this is one of the basic reason why the growth rate of China is highest. So why? Because the population growth rate is lowest in China, which is only 0.5% as compared to India, which is 1.2%, and in Pakistan, which is 2.1%. So this statement is true. Reason says one child policy of China has successfully reduced the growth rate of population, which is a basic reason I just told you. So reason is the correct explanation of assertion. We will go for option A in this, right? Next question says assertion, India's human development indicators are among the best in the world. India के जो human development indicators हैं, they are best. Is this true? No. Reason says India has performed relatively well. Yes, relatively well हम कह सकते हैं. vis-a-vis किससे relatively well हमने किया है? Other developing countries, including its Asian neighbors, in terms of economic growth. Yes, this is true, but we have not done the best. So assertion is false, reason is true. We will go for option D in this question. Next question says assertion, population of Pakistan is very small and account for roughly about 1/10 of China or India, which is true. Reason says China to allow couples to have 2 children. Now the policy which was adopted by China, one child policy, is removed from the year 2005. They have removed that. Now they are allowing the people, the couples, to having more than one child. So which is also true, but this is not the reason of the assertion. This is not explaining the assertion at all. There they are giving the clarity about the Pakistan's population, which is 1/10 of China, whereas in reason they are explaining about the policy of the China which they have adopted now. So reason is not explaining the assertion. So we will go for option B in this question. Assertion is true, reason is true, but reason is not the correct explanation of assertion. Next question says, annual growth rate of population is the lowest in India compared to China. True? No. Annual growth rate जो population की है, अभी हमने तीनों के datas पढ़े थे. We have 2.1, they have 2.7, and China is only having 0.5%. Reason says introduction of one child policy reduced population growth in China. Yes, very true, which is the basic reason why they have the less growth rate of population, because they had adopted one child policy. So assertion is false, but reason is true. So we will go for option D in this question. Next question, assertion says India adopted a mixed economy model of the growth. True. Reason, People's Republic of China as a growth of model was established in 1949. That is also true, but they are the statements for different countries. So reason is not explaining assertion at all. So we'll go for option B. Assertion is true, reason is true, but reason is not the correct explanation of assertion. Next question says, assertion, Great Leap Forward campaign initiated in China brought a new era of industrialization and agricultural development, where they have asked they have adopted two policies, right? Great Proletarian and Great Leap Forward. Great Leap Forward mein what they had done, they had allowed the people to have the industries in their backyards, and under Great Proletarian they had sent the students and professionals to outside countries to learn the technology and to come back to apply in their own countries, right? So assertion is true, where they had brought a new era through this policy adoption of Great Leap Forward, where they had allowed to people to have the industries in their backyards. Reason says students and professionals were sent to countryside under Great Leap Forward campaign. No, this was Great Proletarian. So reason is false. Assertion is true, reason is false. So we will go for option C in this. Next question, assertion says rapacious and exploitative democratic systems. Rapacious किसको बोलते हैं? Greedy. राइट, एक्सप्लॉयटेटिव एक्सप्लॉयटेशन होता है. तो डेमोक्रेसी में इफ देयर इज ग्रीडी एंड एक्सप्लॉयटेटिव things are going on, so they do not necessarily promote growth. Why democracy was adopted by our country? To have a proper growth in the country, because we had came out of the clutches of the Britishers, so we never wanted to give extra freedom to the private sector. That's why government had put control over that on the private sector, so that nobody else can again have the control over the market. So because of that, we have adopted democracy, where the rights were equally given to the people, where the people were allowed to had their to choose their representatives themselves, right? But if that system becomes rapacious and exploitative, that will never lead to growth of the country. So assertion is true. Reason says degradation of institutions that regulate, arbitrate and enforce laws can be costly. If we degrade, who all are taking decisions? Who all are enforcing laws? Government. If we are going to degrade the institutions, that will be costly for us now. So both assertion and reason are true, and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. So we will go for option A in this question. Next question says assertion In Pakistan, the reform process led to worsening of all the economic indicators, and we were discussing about the reason. Agricultural growth and food supply situation was based on the good harvest and not on institutionalized process of technical changes, which is again true, but not the reason, which cannot be the only reason that led to the worsening of all the economic indicators, right? So both assertion and reason are true, but reason is not the correct explanation of assertion. So we will go for option B. Next question says, assertion, though China is the largest nation and geographically occupies the largest area among the three nations, its density is the lowest. Now what do you mean by density? People living in per square meter area, right? So they have the least density occupied by the people. So least area occupied by the people. Reason says, scholars point out the one child norm introduced in China as the major reason for low population growth, which is again true. That's why they have less density over the area. So reason is the correct explanation of assertion. So we can say we'll go for option A, where assertion and reason both are true, and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Next question. GLF campaign, Great Leap Forward campaign, initiated in 1958, aimed at industrializing the country on a massive scale. Industrialization का ही aim था उसके पीछे, because they wanted the people to start with the production in their own small areas. That's why they were able to have the proper GDP growth, right? Reason says, under the commune system, people collectively cultivate lands. ये भी ठीक है. Commune system was adopted by China, where they had made communes and the people were collectively cultivating their lands to save the resources and to have the maximum productivity so that they can earn the better profits. So reason is related to the agriculture, assertion is related to the industrialization. So both the statements are true, but they are not the correct explanation. Means reason is not the correct explanation of assertion. So we will go for option B in this question. Next question says, assertion, China is moving ahead of both India and Pakistan. True. Reason, China introduced economic reforms like GLF campaign of China to industrialize the country on a massive scale. That's why they had initially started growth in their GDP, because they had introduced the GLF campaign, right? So reason is the correct explanation of assertion. We'll go for option A in this. Now that's it with the assertion and reason type questions. Now this is another type which is again recently introduced, in which you will be getting a report or an extract, maybe from your book, or that may be from the news report or somewhere. So what you have to do is, you have to go through that extract carefully. Then the questions will be based upon, like in English you have unseen passages. This is somehow same, but the questions will be based upon the knowledge which you have already taken from the reading of the chapter. So you have to go through the passage and then try to opt the questions. Like for example, this is report 1. Human development is a process of widening people's choices as well as raising the level of well-being achieved. HDI is regarded a very important indicator in this context. It measures the average achievements in 3 basic dimensions of human development are a long and healthy life as measured by life expectancy. Try to understand the meaning also. At birth, knowledge as measured by adult literacy rate. A decent standard of living as measured by per capita GDP. So these are all the indicators. HDI makes rating of different countries on a scale of 0, which has represent lowest human development and 1 which represents highest human development. So it lies between 0 to 1. Now, what do you mean by Human Development Index? What is it actually? It is the process of widening people's choices as well as raising the level of well-being achieved. When we have proper indicators, like we have less number of deaths in our country, high number of births and high life expectancy, low infant mortality rate, low maternal mortality rate. So there are many indicators, right, which shows, or as well as the standard of living we can see. So Human Development Index is a process which widens the people choices, right? They are able to make choices as well as with the higher living standards. So raising the level of well-being achieved by the people is given by the Human Development Index. Now, who released Human Development Report and on what basis? It is released by UNDP. Releases Human Development Report on the basis of ranking of countries. We just discussed in the paragraph also, it lies between a scale of 0 and 1. So give 3 dimensions of HDI. क्या क्या देखते हैं हम? 3 dimensions are life expectancy, literacy rate of the people, and also the standard of living, which can be measured by per capita GDP. Next question, what is the current ranking of India according to HDI? You have to keep this in mind. This is as per 2020 report. India has ranked 131 on human development. This is a rank. Alright, Human Development Report 2020 prepared by UNDP. Next report, on the basis of individual indices of these parameters, a Human Development Index was constructed. The ranking are according to the countries as per their HDI. China ranked 81, India 128 and Pakistan 136. High ranking of China, this is only a report recently. What is the recent data is 131 for India, is due to the higher GDP per capita. In World Bank's Ease of Doing Business ranking 2020, Pakistan stands at 108th position while India is placed higher at 63rd spot, right? India's post-independence journey began as an agrarian nation. Earlier we were having the population which was depending upon the agriculture for their livelihoods. So post-independence we had begun with the agrarian nation. However, the manufacturing and services sectors have emerged strongly over the years. The service sector is the fastest growing sector in India, contributing to more than 60% of its economy and accounting for 28% of the employment. Service sector की बात कर रहे हैं. Manufacturing remains as one of its crucial sectors and is being given due push via the government's initiatives such as Make in India. So still we have a contribution by the agriculture sector. The service sector has shown a very good growth, but still we are struggling with the industrial sector. So Make in India is one of the measure which is taken by the government of India to work upon this sector. Now let's see the question answers. China's growth is mainly attributed to dash sector. कौन सा sector सबसे अच्छा काम कर रहा है? Manufacturing sector. And India's growth is led by the service sector. India की जो growth है वो सबसे अच्छी जो show हुई है वो हमको service sector के through हुई है, tertiary sector के through हुई है, right? So second question is, structure of the country's growth refers to the relative significance of different sectors of economy in the terms of, कैसे हम देखते हैं कितना output आ रहा है और कितना employment create कर रहा है. See, employment and output both are related. When people will get employed, they will be increasing the production, they will be earning the incomes, and then that will be improving the GDP as well as standard of living of the people. So growth rate refers to the increase in output as well as employment. If there is a growth without creating employment in the economy, then that can be called as jobless growth, right? Mention any one similarity in the economic policies of India and Pakistan. क्या किया हम लोगों ने? We were heavily depending upon public sectors and substantial expenditure on social development. That was a biggest problem which was faced by both of our countries, right? Next question, dash is prepared by UNDP. अभी हमने पढ़ा क्या बनाता है? Human Development Index is prepared by UNDP on the basis of parameters like longevity, education attainment, per capita real GDP, etc. Now, this is third report. in most areas of human development, China has performed better than India and Pakistan. This is true for many indicators: per capita GDP or proportion of population below poverty line, health indicators such as mortality rates, access to sanitation, literacy, life expectancy or malnourishment. Pakistan is ahead of India in reducing proportion of people below the poverty line, and also its performance is transferring labor force from agriculture to industrial sector. So they are better than us, and access to water is better than India. Contrary to it, India is ahead of Pakistan in education sector, providing health facilities. India and Pakistan are ahead of China in providing improved water sources. So there are few fields I told you where we are better than China too. Right. So which of the following countries has the lowest density of population? It was discussed in one of the report now only that China is having the lowest density of the population because they have the largest area with them, as well as their growth rate is very less. So that's why they have the lowest density in their country. Now India is ahead of Pakistan. किस चीज में इंडिया आगे है? Service sector or education sector. So we are ahead in education sector. Mortality rate is also known as, क्या बोलते हैं mortality, infant mortality पढ़ी हमने, maternal mortality पढ़ी. So there we discuss about the death rates of the country. India and Pakistan are ahead of China in providing better water resources. ये तो आप याद रखेंगे ही रखेंगे because there are only few points where you have to learn that we are doing better than China. So water resources. Next report says India had to choose to open its borders for the outside world in 1991. Due to its debt crisis and the condition put forward by International Monetary Fund, it came ages after the communist China introduced its economic reforms in 1978. India, through its LPG reforms, liberalized its economy and privatized her non-performing PSUs. So these were the policies adopted by India, LPG policy. With free trade in mind, India also started an economic and regional grouping like ASEAN and its neighbor countries like SARS. Through currently for India, BIMSTC holds more importance. Still SAARC would have played an important role had it not been for Pakistan and its hostility towards India. So this is the basic report about all this relationship. Now match the followings. What you have to do is column A and column B is given to you. You have to match the dates. Right. So liberalization of trade policy, liberalization of industrial policy, privatization of public sector and removal of licensing. So these four you have to choose the correct pair among them, where liberalization of industrial policy was done on July 24, 1991. So this is the correct pair, right? Next question says new economic policy 1991 is also called U-turn policy for India. Why? Because from there we have started the actual growth, right? The communist China came into exist in 1949. See, we in India and Pakistan has got the independence 1947. And they have started the communist China in 1949. So among all these countries we started together, then we introduced the reforms almost nearby. So that's why we are able to compare these three countries' growth rate, right? Now give the full form of SAARC. This is South Asian Association of Regional Corporation, where the member countries are Afghanistan, Pakistan, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan, Sri Lanka. So you can easily learn the neighbor countries' names. It was founded on 8th December 1985. Although it was not founded in Dhaka. Although it was not asked in the question, but it was just for making you the things clear, right? Report 5 says, in most areas of human development, China has performed better than India and Pakistan. This is true for many indicators: per capita GDP, proportion of population below poverty line, or the health indicators, right? Pakistan is ahead of China in reducing proportion. So there we have discussed about the population control rate, population growth rate, or where India is heading China, where Pakistan is heading China. So all these details are same. Let's see the question. Pakistan is ahead of China in reducing proportion of people below the poverty line. So this also can be easily remembered. India is ahead of Pakistan in dash and providing health facilities. किस चीज में India was better? India was better in service sector. Next question, India and Pakistan are ahead of China in providing deteriorated water resources. Is it true? This is false, because they are better in providing them the water sources. So question can come in any form. This was only to make you understand that from the same paragraph different questions can be asked. So any type of questions can be framed from any news, right? Is Pakistan ahead of India in reducing proportion of people below the poverty line, and also its performance in transferring labor force from agriculture to industrial sector? So yes, they were able to. Yes, Pakistan is ahead of India in reducing proportion of people below the poverty line. We have discussed it in that report too, and also its performance in transferring labor force from agriculture sector to industrial sector. So that was it. I hope you all understood all these questions. Sir?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ma'am, for discussing all the assertion, region, and case study from this particular chapter. That is chapter 10, India, China, and comparative study of India, China, and Pakistan. And definitely, students will be it will be very helpful for the students. And I'm sharing the feedback link for the certificate in live chat box. The students are requested kindly fill the form. And I would like to thank Madam Silpi Taneja for sparing her valuable time and joining us on this platform. And hope Madam will join us very again and again on this platform on our request to discuss the different chapters remaining for the class 11. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, one and all.